What is going on YouTube? John here, back again with another unboxing and review. Today what I have for you is the 1/6 scale Rocketeer and Betty statue from Mondo. Now this statue actually came out a few years ago, so this is a bit of a throwback unboxing and review. But yeah, I had found out about this statue maybe about 8 months ago or so. And by then it was already sold out because it's been a few years since it came out. So I figured, I'd have to get it on eBay, maybe for an inflated price. The prices were a little too high for me, so I kind of gave up disappointedly at trying to get it. So fast forward a few months, and I was looking at this black box 1/6 scale Rocketeer figure and kind of Googling about it, and I saw a link for this statue on Big Bad Toy Store. And it had been sold out for years, so I clicked on it expecting, it's going to say, not in stock once I click on it or sold out or whatever. But it said in stock, which I was totally amazed. So I put in the order thinking, it'll get canceled once they figure out that they don't actually have it in stock. But it showed up on my doorstep, so here it is. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take them out of the box, check out all the pieces, put them together, tell you what I think. Let's get started. Now, this statue is based on the comic book version of the Rocketeer, so you're going to see comic book representations of both the Rocketeer and Betty. I really like the way they're drawn here. And on the side, you see a rear view of each character, no pun intended, with the Mondo symbol in between them. Note that the Rocketeer has the comic book version of the rocket and not the movie version. And in the back, instead of seeing the drawn version of the statue, you see the actual statue shot. On the side, you see some front portraits, and in the top, you see Rocketeer and Betty written in this old-fashioned 50s kind of lettering, which is pretty cool. But hey, you didn't come here just to look at packaging. Let's go ahead and take all the pieces out of the box and take a look at them. The Rocketeer was a character created by Dave Stevens in 1982. The Rocketeer's secret identity is Cliff Secord, a stunt pilot who discovers a mysterious jetpack that allows him to fly. His adventures are set in Los Angeles and New York in 1938, and Stevens gave them a retro nostalgic feel influenced by King of the Rocketmen and Commando Cody movie serials and pinup diva Betty Page. The character was adapted into the 1991 Walt Disney Pictures film The Rocketeer, directed by none other than Joe Johnston, who also directed Captain America: The First Avenger. Alright, and with the history lesson out of the way, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the pieces. I'm going to go ahead and start by taking away the tissue paper, and I'm going to start like I always do with the base. Base does have a little bit of heft to it, which does make sense since the entirety of the body is held up by it. This is kind of reminiscent of the 1/6 scale Harley Quinn from Tweeterhead. It's not translucent like that one, but it's a very similar kind of design. Now you see in the bottom here, it has the same kind of font like the packaging does. It says Rocketeer and Betty. It's pretty nicely painted. I like it. All right, moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the additional parts that this statue comes with. We're going to go ahead and start with some of the thrusters for the rocket. These are nicely painted. It has a nice little fade in between orange and yellow. It is magnetic fit, as you can see the little peg here. So it should just snap onto place when you do put them on. The other one looks pretty similar, nothing really different there. Maybe it has a little bit more orange, but they're both nicely painted, nicely sculpted. Moving on, let's take a look at Betty's slipper. I do like this little accessory. It's a small little touch because it gives the statue like kind of a feeling of motion. But yeah, it's nicely done. It has a little magnetic tip on it so it sticks to her foot. Next up, we're going to look at Cliff's hand that's holding a Mauser pistol, as I struggle to take it out of the packaging. But yeah, this looks really nice. I like the little metallic sheen the top of his glove has, and I like the little paint applications on the pistol. It's slight, but it has a little bit of like a sheen to it that's really well done. The sculpting on this is nice. I do like that they painted the individual fingers well, so it doesn't look like one glob of a piece of polystone. Yeah, this is nicely painted. All right, next up, we're going to take a look at probably one of the more important parts of this statue, which is the helmet. You mess this up and the whole statue kind of falls apart, I think. I do like it. Definitely is based on the comic book version of the character, because you can tell he has green lenses just like in the comic book, which I do appreciate. All the little nice paint applications are well done. There's a little bit of wear. It's a nice gold color. I do like kind of some of the like shading inside the lenses as well. All right, let's take a look at Betty's portrait, which is a bit of a sticking point with fans of the statue. The reason being because the shading, the coloring of her face is different from the rest of her body. It's kind of a darker tone. I guess you could explain it away that her skin is flushed because, you know, he took off on the rocket, but a lot of people weren't very happy with that. The one on mine isn't too bad. It actually looks better actually off camera than it does on camera. But yeah, the details on that is pretty nice. You're not going to confuse this with an XM super detailed statue. It still looks really nicely sculpted though, and really fits the comic book vibe. Lastly, we're going to take a look at the body, or I guess bodies in this case. And considering it's based on a comic book, they did actually pack in a good amount of detail. You can see all the rivets on his jacket. Betty has this nice little sheen on some of her clothing. You can see they sculpted in a gun holster, which is a nice touch. You have little ports for the thrusters here, as well as a port for where the base is gonna go. I really dig this statue. Not very often you get one with two characters, but I guess if you're gonna do a multi-character one, Rocketeer is a great fit. All right, let's go ahead and zoom in so you can just take a better look at some of the sculpting here. I think it's really well painted, well sculpted. As you can see, they did not skimp on Betty's voluptuousness. So that's definitely a part of her character in the comics, and it's represented pretty well here. The rocket looks really great. It's nicely painted with the purple from the comics. So didn't neglect Cliff's jacket. You can see a ton of folds and bends on it. And I do like the paint applications around his hand here. So it actually looks like he's holding her instead of it just being a big glob of statue. But yeah, now that we took a look at all the pieces, let's go ahead and put them together. This was actually a pretty easy build. The hardest part was getting the body onto the base, just simply because you had to be really exact with it. There was only like one certain angle you could slide it down, and it was hard to figure out that angle, and I was afraid of applying too much pressure, but you ended up having to put quite a bit of pressure for it to kind of slide down. Once it did, it was seated just fine though. But yeah, that was definitely the trickiest part. It was a little, I was sweating a little bit trying to get that body on there. The rest of it is pretty easy because it's magnetic fit, so it just kind of snaps into place like you can see here in the video. No troubles there. You're going to see that Betty's portrait is a different color than the body. I think it appears to be a little more obvious though on camera, because when you see it in person, it's not as bad, but definitely you can still notice it if you look for it. And finally, let's put the Rocketeer helmet on to complete his look. Oh, of course, let's not forget the most important detail, Betty's shoe. I'm really glad I was able to add this to my collection. I don't know why it was on Big Bad Toy Store for that hot minute, because it's been sold out for a while now. But hey, I'm not going to complain. Oftentimes when you do get a Rocketeer statue, it's based on the movie version, not the comic book version. So to get one with this amount of detail is really nice. And I love that they included Betty. She's such a big part of the comic that it makes total sense to have her as part of the statue. That is all I have for you today. If you did enjoy this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. It helps the algorithm know that people like my videos, and they might shoot them to the top of the search list. And also, if you want to get notified as soon as I post a video, go ahead and click on the bell icon and it'll do just that. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with a picture of my Rocketeer display with this statue as the centerpiece. Have a good one.